You actually? Oh yeah, let me put the camera on. Alright, I'm just about ready to go here. Ladies and gentlemen, Merry Toddmas. Hope everybody's having a splendid post-Christmas day. Today, we're going to be working on some AI. We're going to finish the AI script for me. Yes, I'm coding myself. That's how you know you've become a parody. Alright. Let's pop up on the map. See what we can see. So because, basically my goal for this whole week, was to try and get the AI written for all of the, well, 3 out of 4 players here. Because I still was on the fence at the beginning of this week about whether or not I would even have a player for the bottom left. But, rather an AI for that. But since I've decided to do that, that will be added to the list. I'm just not going to charge forth and do that right this second, you know what I mean? I was looking for my coffee. An important ingredient. Alright, so what we have here is an AI that needs an attacking thread. So one of the things that I've started to do with AI in general is I've started to time out the starting of their attacks and the starting of their expansion threads. And trying to do that a bit more responsibly now, right? So I just run the whole thing at the beginning, but we're gonna have some weights in the attacking thread, and in here we can see that we don't allow the AI to expand until the AI has already built a garage, and then the 9 engineer thing is just a failsafe to make sure that they have at least 9 workers. So let's go. This is the town thread. So we know that they get the garage after they build 3 stations. Oh, I think by station this is supposed to be academy. That's a problem. Oh boy. That could be a big deal. Yeah. Alright, that was supposed to be... I can't believe that happened. Now, did I even do... I see a swap post, and I think I saw a doghouse earlier. And there's 2 doghouses, an infirmary. But there was a 5th one, right? A 5th academy? Where are they even... Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there should be a 2nd swap post, in theory. It looks like I didn't put that in. Slap that in there. Okay, so now we have everything we need for the main town thread, it seems. So, Academy. So I guess we can do wait, build, start. Well, hold on. I'm trying to time this out so that we have... I think after they slap down their second academy, they should probably spend most of their time, or most of their resources at that point, preparing their first attack, right? So we can say wait, build, start 3 academy, and then we can do some sort of like... I don't want to do something super contrived to get them to wait. So maybe I'll just increase the wait from 360, which is 15 seconds. We can up it to like a minute. And assume that they're going to spend that time preparing their first attack. We might even... We'll dip it down to 1080, which I believe is... It's like 45 or something. Yeah. It's exactly 45 seconds. So we'll leave it at that for now, and we'll see where that goes. So in this case, we'll do wait, build, start 3 academy. And that's when we'll start to prepare our first strike. We could probably even get rid of the wait, build, start in this particular case. We can just say wait, build 1 armory. Or even wait, build, start 1 armory. Because they're only getting add-ons after that point. And then we can do attack, add... And at this point, they'll have 2 stations, or 2 academies rather, so production structures, and 1 doghouse. And they will be getting the swap post. I don't remember if the swap post requires an academy. I don't think it does. No, I don't think it does. So maybe we can do something like... Move that up. Alright, we kind of messed around with that, but that's fine. And then in this case, we could do... We'll just do wait, build 2 academy instead of worrying about everything else. Because I just realized I didn't have a wait, build 2 academy until I just put it in there. So, this is what I mean, is synchronizing town threads. Like, there is a merit to using Blizzard's structure for designing AI. And the merit is you add in, like, because you're putting in attacks and build requests at the same time, you have always a complete, concrete understanding. Like, when I wrote this build thread, I knew what was going on. But, you know, that was a week ago or so. So coming back into it now, I don't really know what's going on as well as I did. So the benefit of writing it the way that Blizzard wrote it and the way that some other AI modders do, I think Necron might still do it somewhat like this. He's pretty much the only other... Like, Icor obviously writes AI, but hasn't released too much publicly. He's been working on tools and stuff. I'm trying to think of other people who write AI. Like, I know them, like DF obviously writes AI, Kian writes AI, but most of them use a system that's not so far removed from my own, that has their own personal sort of touches that make it easier for them to remember stuff. So I'm trying to think of like anybody else other than Necron that writes like this. But basically it's the Blizzard style. It's writing a set of instructions and not really giving a fuck about what class of instruction they are, if it's a build or a defense or an attack-oriented request or command. Now, obviously, the benefit of multi-threading the way that I do it is you do get a cleaner-looking code, you do get something that's more organized, but the drawback is it's harder to keep track of what's going on. And it's also harder to immediately look at something. Like, even though it's more organized, and I can definitely say that I know where a request originates from, like what thread a request originates from, it's very easy for me to go find it. It's still fairly trivial to do that in the less organized way that Blizzard did it by just control Fing, you know, finding the request and saying like, all right, the AI doesn't build its academy, so I'm gonna, you know, find the academy request in here. Oh, it didn't build it because I requested it before it had the tech requirements to build one, you know, and then, you know, whatever, anything like that. So then you can figure that out. Whereas, like, in this particular case, something could go wrong in another thread and stop the thread that you're working on, where the problem is, from progressing. So it's not as easy to troubleshoot, and also not as easy to immediately look at and understand. Because you can immediately look at and understand what, like, the guard thread is or whatever, but it's by itself. You know, you're not seeing the complete picture, just a small snippet, which is like a function. Now, if you already understand object-oriented programming to some degree, or you understand, like, how functions work in general, where you have a function and it has a list of instructions, and you know that other instructions can call that function, or other instructions can affect what this function actually does, then it's not really that big of a deal. But I understand why some people do prefer the more, we can call it primitive method. It is literally more primitive, but that it's also more basic in general, right? So I understand why people prefer it. Just it's also what you learn first, right? Like when you're first editing AI scripts, you're probably looking at Blizzard's work, and they didn't give a fuck what they were doing, so they just threw everything in there. Is it an attack command? Throw it in there. Who cares? The only time they multi-threaded anything was the ending loop. And sometimes I think they would multi-thread some small things. Melee AI multi-threads. But it's mostly just a bunch of random, disorganized jumps to different code based on random chances to change up the build order or something. Very, very silly. Alright, so we'll definitely be adding some officers. And then we'll also add barkers. And maybe SWAT troopers. And oh, instead of return, which doesn't make any sense. So we should figure out which AI I want myself to target, and which path I want myself to take. I think the first attack for this AI should probably go through this higher ground, because then you'll have shared vision of that base, and then the AI will take that base and it'll be like, oh, I scouted it out. It's a very small bit, but I think it could, in theory, be useful for this. So 3982, 2575, and sure, he can hug the upper ground or right side of the map or whatever. So we'll say Darien, natural, Mongo, main, south, east. And then in this particular case, I guess we could do like, we can put in a trigger death or something. Oh, what's up, Raw Flesh? I don't think that there... I mean, I'll add some death here, but I don't actually think that there's a transmission for him starting his attacks. I think he just goes through and does all of them in general. Yeah, it would be like right here. do we have here? Mongo main destroyed sets switch 7. Okay, I should name these switches where I can. So we'll say Mongo destroyed. And then this one was crack destroyed. I'm pretty sure it was switch 6. Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, since I don't have anything here... I mean, I'll set the death, but it should be fairly harmless. I'll set it to, like... Hero Arbiter death. I'll do that. Are you going to improve the map, Rawflesh, or are you just gonna leave it the way it was? Oh, another thing we have to do for this AI is do the random expansion logic. So I suppose we might as well do that. I was at 66 for Wardens. Oh, okay, nice. Good to know. Oh, I should check out... Haha, I used Marine instead of Officer. As Todd would say, haha, gotcha. Hey Connor, how are you? Hope your days after Christmas have been good. Well, so far so good. Things are looking well. Just working on the AI. Right now the random expansion logic for myself in this map. How about yourself? Oh, you just said not bad. Normal? Okay, nice. Well, better than... worse than normal. Right? So... And don't worry too much about those errors, Raw Flesh. You got plenty of time to fix them. Okay. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm actually, I mean, for what I do for work in the evenings, I usually am running around like crazy. Well, walking around like crazy. I do like, I forget what the figure was. It's like 10,000 steps or something. I don't know. It's a decent amount of steps, whatever it is. And doing that for a while has definitely helped me out. Oh, you know what? I should do... But yeah, the connection anyway was I also live right next to a gym now, so I'm going to end up grabbing a membership there. I'm sure they'll have some absurd sale for the holidays, right, for New Year's. So I'm hoping that I can capitalize on that. Alright, so the random expansion stuff should be good. Like, in theory, this should compile right now, believe it or not. But why don't we do... there's some... Oh, I should open up the... well, I guess I can take a look at the old stuff. I'm pretty sure... Oops. This was... the basis. Ah, I see. That's an odd way to do it. So I'm pretty sure the way that I... Hold on. Let me look at their target prep. Oh, really? I guess they were all specific? Or maybe I have messages in there that never get sent? I don't know. No, I think the reason why I never did anything non-specific is because, like, I couldn't fetch the target region and then compare that to, like, a location or something. So, like, basically what I would do if I had the ability to is even when there was a random attack from an enemy, if I wanted to notify the player about it, I would have something like a giant location around the player's base or the team's base or something. And then I would compare the randomly selected target region of a certain AI with whether or not it was in a location. And if it was in the location that I had just set up, or any number of the locations that I would specify, I would notify the player because it's like a randomly selected attack region that happens to target an area that you have control over or something. Obviously, it would be even better if I could just compare regions directly, like if target region is equal to, or if owner of target region is equal to player 1 or something, then be able to do something like that. That way I wouldn't even need locations. And it would dynamically adapt to the game state, which would be cool, I think. That would be something that I would try to mess around with, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, I do need to do something like attack, or it's like I have to randomize a set of deaths, but I don't know which one. Let's find this. Mongo text general. Alright. Text general. This is Tassadar Zeratul. So that's H Archon. I don't know if that's still H Archon. I think it is. So I think it was 7? I think I had to do 6. Yeah, 6. H Archon blank. And then what was his specific? Artanis. That should be fairly simple. And then we do deaths 13. Weight at least weight 7. Blank. We'll do brain jump. Or we'll say at most 2 buildings. It's 43. Target prep. Oh, it looks like I had a... Well, I don't know where it is, but alright. Say... 44. I'll say random, 35. Alright, tennis blank. Alright. And of course I have to do ping. What color is this anyway? So this is... I guess it'll be a green ping, which I believe is 8. But I'm not sure. So say call TMC. Alright, easy enough. Now we just need to pick other regions for this. So 14. What the fuck? Alright. 4, 30, say, you're in 3rd south, Mongo, natural south. Oh, ping right here. It's 2620, 1040. Oops. Bonk. 3rd north. Mongo 3rd southwest. Saying 3734, 1260. Buildings 17. So this is like Mongo natural south, Mongo main, southwest. Now this is, we'll just ping the main. 680. And then... Nice. So just one more set to go, and we will be good. 14, 58, 6. Two, 1042. This is West Lake. Main southwest. 1080. 900. North, southeast, I have no idea how I'm going to fashion a third one out of this, though. I guess I could make a specific one that targets the third. Oh, you know what? And then we can do TKD. Go 6, 6, 2, 36, 4. This is crack third, crack natural, west, 60, 300. And this is just ring jump, making exactly their group buildings lock. And grab this is lock 22, TKD, and then we'll say bring down 14 exactly their group buildings lock. 16 TK A. Sure. Oh no, we'll say B. B is a better one. A better general purpose one. And alright, we've done the attack thread. Well, attack targeting. Including the pings, which are a big deal. Components of the triggers and all that. So now, what I'm going to do after I come back from a bathroom break is finish the attack thread itself. It should be pretty smooth sailing from here. I'll just generically write an attack thread. I don't think I'm going to have to do much hand-holding. I might decide at some point to stop the attack thread until an expansion has been has happened, or until I would assume an expansion attempt has at least happened, and then, like, regardless of whether or not it was successful, because we don't want to create some sort of blockage where the AI would be unable to progress in the attack thread until they've successfully expanded, because they may just perpetually not be allowed to for whatever reason. They may be perpetually beaten back, and I wouldn't want them to just deactivate and not spend any money. So we'll probably wait till a point where we know that an expansion attempt is going to happen, which would be after the garage has been built. So we'll do like wait build 1 garage at some point. And then we can do like wait 1080, which is 45 seconds. There's not a huge amount of downtime, but they'll spend that money, and we can test the exact timings, maybe increase or decrease that amount of wait until later. This experiment is hopefully going to help me understand exactly how to work within the limitations of the AI system we currently have, because Todborne needs to work with that, and I think Inconsummate also needs to work with that, and we can continue to mess around with that with Hydra as well for experimentation, but we're working on Todborne right now, so I shall return momentarily. We will get back to work. We are back. Okay. Glad that I left that note for me. So, I reckon we can probably do 2 attacks before the garage gets started. Maybe a third before it's actually built. So we'll do... Wait. 360. Hello, Vic. How are you? Well, so far, so good. I wrote the random expansion logic. I wrote the targeting logic, targeting region logic, and now I am well on my way to writing the attack thread and finishing this AI up. And we can get started on one of the other AIs. I'll probably just do Mongo next. And then we'll do, we'll save Crack for another stream. I don't know how far I'll get in Mongo. I have work at 2 o'clock. And it's almost 12 now, right? So the latest I can be here is like 1:30, and I need to change into my work clothes. So I'll probably be here around I don't know. Well, you have at least another hour and 20 minutes. So I hope to finish this AI in the next 10 or so, and then we can hopefully get a fair bit of work done on Mongo. But how are you? How is it going over there in your neck of the woods? How was your Christmas? I think that's fine. In theory, it's all good. Okay, so I don't actually know how many attacks are required to scale up. Let me take a look at the defined max values. This is something where I've always done it by feel and haven't really written down rules on what the attacks will look like. Part of it is because the attacks do get augmented by a number of expansions. But it looks like the max officer count is double what I'm currently requesting. Max Barker count is pretty close to what I was just requesting. Okay. So we'll do attack add 22. I'm always going to keep it a little bit underneath what the maximum actually is, because there's going to be some added by the expansions, so we want to leave room for the right amount. But another thing is the defined max values should probably be much higher than you ever explicitly request for attacking units, because of the fact that the expansions have the ability to attack, to add to those attack lists. So I'm thinking we are probably going to want to... Dude, that scared the shit out of me. Holy fuck. We're probably going to want to... spend some time increasing that amount. But we'll see if the attacks are ever just like too far below. I'm gonna go ahead and skip the rest of that album. How many more do we even have queued up at this point? We have not very many. Looks like we got 10 more. And one of them is blocked in my country, lol. Alright. That's fine. Like I said, I only have like another hour and change. Now, the other thing that the expansions do is I feel they actually outmode the need for attack rand. It's like they use attack rand in them, so it's not like the command is no longer necessary. But one of the things that I always did is in the loop, the attack loop, for the main thread, I would always randomize the number of attacks that were sent. But I don't think this is required anymore, because it actually makes more sense to start with baseline that you know this is the minimum, and then any expansion will add on top of that a certain amount of units. That I think makes more sense, but that's how you operate with the main thread. So why would it be different when you go to the loop? The old justification was expansions didn't do anything besides building more production structures. So my stream is messing up. Let's take a look. I mean, I'm watching it back right now. So I don't, I'm afraid I don't think so. I can try restarting the broadcast, maybe that'll help. This is another thing, is people keep saying that the stream is botching, but I never see it when I watch the stream back. Wait, what? Oh, I think when I minimized it, it came back over here, which is weird. It was messing up, but it's okay now. Why does it only last until I go back and watch it? What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. I wish OBS would just tell me when something's wrong. It always says my 0% dropped frames and everything's good. My bitrate's only like 6K anyway. Like, it's not that huge. You don't need to be, it doesn't need to be that big. I certainly could do more, but it doesn't need to be that big for just streaming my desktop. Hopefully it doesn't rear its ugly head again. Sorry about the issues. You know what's funny about this is there's another thing that I think is born out of the Blizzard style of writing AI, which is to randomly pivot to a completely different attack style, which is like make an attack that's entirely Zerglings, or in this case entirely dogs or something. Like that, funny for a meme, but would it ever be successful? Like it catches the player off guard in a sense, but I don't think I've ever seen an attack like that be like, suddenly the AI pivots from using the ground units that they've been using to air units that they've never used before, or, you know, something else that's similarly designed like that, or exclusively one unit that they've previously used in combination with others. I don't think I've ever seen that be significantly successful, you know what I mean? Like, get to the point where it's actually accomplishing the goal of dismantling the opponent. So it's more like the developer of the AI script, well, Blizzard, I think they were all written by one guy, but it's like they had this idea to do this attack of all Ultralisks or something, and then they were like, well, we don't really give a shit if this is actually going to be successful at doing what the AI wants to do. We don't care if it kills the player. It's just meant to be different. You know, it's like, why? You know what I mean? You have to really start to question the thought process behind that, because I probably still do some of that stuff too, but I try to work it into like the idea of, you know, how is this going to help the AI get ahead? Like an all Wraith attack early on, is the idea is you probably don't have that much anti-air defense in the early game. So if they attack you with 12 Wraiths at the beginning of the game, that can probably wipe out a Spore Colony or, you know, 6 Hydras or whatever, just because of the way the Wraiths are changed. So... Alright, so this seems fine. We'll pop it in here. Ignore that stuff on the desktop, that's for the video. Boom, boom, boom. Oops. Oh. Wait a second. That reminds me. Destroyed. What the fuck? Hey, Veek, I got another problem for you to solve. Wowee. What a mess. Okay. Close that. Bonk. Okay. We gotta figure this shit out. It would probably be better for me to just completely start from scratch, but... Oh, I forgot to call wait attack in the thread. An error in the unit diff. Technology. See you later, Connor. Thanks for hanging out. The other thing I should do here is target brand. Nice. See, I got worker. Dude, what a confusing mess. I don't even remember if that's what it's called. Gonna take some getting used to for that one. All right. Decent enough outline. I don't know what causes this weird overlay bug where it appears like 300 pixels above the unit or something. I also like the tower thread idea that I've been working with lately, where I wait for the AI to bring a certain type of structure within a certain amount of tiles of the base layout destination. And when that happens, I order the construction of certain defenses. I think that only makes sense. Of course, this is a disorganized mess, this base, so who knows if it'll be particularly useful here, but... yeah, these can just get lost, to be honest. I don't think there's any air units. Yeah, there's no air units in this Slack group that are available here, and the only one that does eventually get enabled is a transport anyway, so that's not a problem for these guys. They don't need to worry about that. But what they should do is they've got broodlings, zerglings. Now they've got... I mean, broodlings need to be replaced anyway, so this is... Well, enjoy your lunch, Raw Flesh. Thanks for hanging out. So there's more here. There's like defense, LGG. Okay. Easy enough. Say wait. Build one. Weirdness. I don't think there are any other upgrade spots, so yeah, just leave that there. I don't think they have anything that even benefits from that. So this is 3-1 blank. Yeah, I think those are the only things that we need there. And we can do upgrade 1. $27, 1 blank. Oh, there's structure resistance as well. I forgot to put that one. Do that. Yeah, getting this unit def stuff down is pretty fucking difficult when you're dealing with it for the first time, more or less. Especially when you don't even know if it's going to stay the way it is. Like, I might end up changing some names or whatever, and I don't want to refer to the old ones and get myself confused in a different way. So, it's always new and exciting ways to confuse yourself when it comes to this sort of thing. So what else do we got here? Contagious Kisses. That's for Smirchy Boys. Wasn't it called like? I don't think I had the upgrade defined when I was doing this, so it's probably in the exe. If I hop into Firegraph and take a look, I think it's called like unbiased moderation, but I want to make sure that I have it correct here. Yeah. I don't know what do they get? Insult resistance, orbiter attacks. Okay. Orbiter attacks 60. Yeah, that was easy enough. Alright, so the upgrades are done, defined maxes are done, defenses are done. I gotta do the main town thread, that's really not that big of a deal. We didn't actually expand the map in terms of map size, but we changed so much that the regions are almost certainly going to be different. So just going to redo these from the ground up. What's up, Scarlet? How are you? Let's see, alright, so in this case we have to do randomize. I think these are using the same trigger ideas. Or like the death numbers or whatever. Longo text general is Artanis. So 6, Artanis, blank. 7. Alright, and we need to do the expansion stuff. I deleted all of that because it was in the wrong spot for our new logic. So we can do expand and then guard. My Christmas was a very interesting experience. I had a good time. First Christmas of the new place. I moved in here at the beginning of the month, so kind of a cheat to say that, but that's all right. And yeah, it was nice. Spent it with family. Obviously, I was streaming yesterday to go through the year's catalog of videos and try to make some sort of fun compilation out of all of the most insane moments. So I gotta figure out at what point should these guys hazard an expansion. This is going to be their third. They're going to want to try to take this western front. They should probably only do that when they have enough production to handle things. So I would say probably around 5. Well, I got to figure out what Mongo's personality actually is. I didn't put much thought into this back last year. I just knew that like he had used very different units than the other anime factions would. That's like the only real personality-based thing that I came up with. I think in this particular case, he should just wait until he has... I don't want to make him wait until he has the queerness, because that's a tech level thing, basically. But I think he's going to do 2... I think he's going to go for 2... whatever these are. Subforums, Kissing Station, Slack group. And then start on the 3rd immediately. So we can do like wait, build, 1 Slack group, and then we can do that, right? So we'll say wait, build, 1 Slack group. And then resources, 13 at most. What about you? How was your Christmas? So we have 13 and 17. Oh. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Facebook page. I'm going to grab all of the base layout things before I do anything crazy here. We got 2 subforums and a Slack group. I guess they should probably have their Twitter accounts cost some supply as well to make things balanced. All right. I might end up writing the expansion threads before I write the main town thread. They're really not that different in terms of scale. It's only a couple of structures less in terms of, like, quantity. Sometimes that happens. Though I will say, talk about a tech demo. This map is definitely that. In so many ways. I don't even know what those are. Are those dancers or something? What is the crossover? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, what is the crossover between that and anime? What I sort of not really. I mean, it's not really related, most likely anyway, to your specific question, but that does make me think about K-pop people, the people who really love K-pop and K-pop idols or whatever. Those people would probably be good additions. So I've never dealt with them specifically, but I've seen a lot of people who would identify as that or as part of that fandom or group or whatever, and they seem a little unstable. And you know what? Why not throw some shade at them? It's funny. All right. Alright, and we'll figure out, obviously I can slot in some guards there later on. That one was super easy. Alright. I guess I can start placing some of the guard units now anyway. Might as well. Good old Boko. I should try to shrink that graphic. I think that would make it more fitting for a Reddit unit, because it's a little too large right now. Oh, we need to place a couple of fanboys, I think. Looking good. Actually, even though obviously all the assets come from completely different games and sources, I actually, for some reason, it fits. I don't know. It looks like a real fucking convention of degenerates, man. It's probably just me, but I like it. I think it's funny. All right. Excellent. Now, if this doesn't look like a castle of degeneracy, I don't know what does. All right. So, we've done that. Oh yeah, let's finish this, then I can take a pee break. And then I can come back and try to do the main town thread and the... I think I already did upgrades. So... yeah, once I'd finish this and the main town thread, I just have attacks to go, I think. Unless I'm forgetting some epic aspect of it all, which I could very well be doing. This is the random one. Okay, easy enough. There is going to be, yeah, there is one with 5 as well, though. So we'll just have 2 of those, I guess. We can do that. Slack group plus Slack. Okay, nice. What's up, Deadass? How are you, dude? Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that stuff. Hope you had a good celebration for whatever it was. Okay, cool. I think that means the random stuff is all done. The expansion stuff is all done. Now we can get back to the main town thread all the way up here. And then we can do... Yeah, it's guards and attacks. That was what I was missing. No, the guard units aren't called guards. Basically what it is when you request place guard or a specific guard at a coordinate, it requests that unit. At the coordinate. So, for example, like in normal terms, right, for normal Starcraft, if I did place guard Marine 0, that would tell the AI to put the Marine at the town center. So, when you use place guard, you can only set it to 3 different locations. 0 is the town center, so wherever the town was created, the start location, something like that. 1 is in the mineral line, and 2 is next to the geyser. Obviously, if there is no mineral line, then I think it just defaults to town center, and the same as if there is no geyser, then that's where it defaults there as well. So if it's a gas-only expansion, 1 will... I think it'll still request the guard, but it'll send it to the town center instead. And if there's no gas, you set 2, it'll probably just go to the town center, I think. But either way, that's basically what you get out of that. Then you have the actual command. The command is just called guard. That command is separate. It's different than the other one. And basically what it allows you to do is request any guard, any amount of guard at a specific priority and at a specific location. And tell the AI how many times to replenish that guard. Usually I just tell them to always rebuild it. The default behavior is to only rebuild it up to 3 times. So if it dies while being a guard 3 times, then the AI will consider that guard spot dead and will not replenish it. So that's the standard behavior. I usually just tell them to do it indefinitely. So for all these pre-placed units that I'm setting up, I'm actually going to go into the AI script and take their coordinates, just like I did with the buildings, and put it into the AI script. And then what we have is an AI that sends the units to those locations. And then I take all of these units that I've pre-placed for all the players, and I basically make a copy of this map. I dump all of these units in that copy, and I delete them all from the main copy, and then the AI only starts out with their town hall and 4 workers or whatever, and slowly builds up to the point where you see they have all the stuff that you see here with the pre-placed set of units and structures. Well, conventional wisdom would say there must be some defeat trigger that is enabling, so you can make a copy of your map and delete the triggers instead of disabling them and see if that fixes it. It's got to be something. Make sure you're, if you're trying to track stuff down and it's all obscure based on comments or whatever, you can go to Triggers, Trigger Editor, copy this into Notepad, and search for defeat. There's no defeat trigger in this map yet, so it doesn't pop up there, but that's how I would do it if I was trying to track it down. Alright, I really got to pee, so BRB. All right, I have returned. So we've actually been powering through this AI so far. Pretty nice. I didn't think I'd be able to finish rough draft or anything for the Mongo AI today, but it looks like we can get pretty damn close. So it really just depends on what we want to do now. I guess we'll do the guards for the expansion first. So first of all, before we do anything, let's divvy them up, right? So we do guard, Reddit, spammer, 1 0 25. I think that's how I did it here. The guard in the main was 80, and then there was 75 for the expansions. Yeah. Subscriber. Bing Bong. Okay, so these three are the first that are going to be called, along with that fanboy, and then maybe we'll do like. Well, first, I guess I'll total up the number overall, and we'll arrange them based on that later on. So we have 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Subscribers, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have fanboy. I think there was like 3. It's 1, 2. Might only be 2. Yeah, I only count 2. Okay, so I can take this and turn it into furry. It's 1, 2. Also only 2 of those. I think there's only 3 or 4. Yeah, there's 4 patrons. And then we have 1, 2 moderators. So we'll plug in the coordinates and then we'll organize them after the fact. In rough order of where I want them to go. That's what I should have asked for Christmas, is a new keyboard. How many times have I said that while mod streaming? I need a new keyboard. I'll have to look into a good one. Problem is, if you ever want to pay money for a keyboard, you can. There's like $200 keyboards out there. But surely there's one that will last a good number of years that I can get for under like $50. I say surely, but again, I am completely ignorant when it comes to that stuff, so who knows? The sheer number of pre-placed, or like not, obviously they're not actually pre-placed, but the guards that I'm putting together really do make this an arduous process. I remember doing this exact set of shit, and because these units don't come out of eggs, it's much easier and much more reliable to get the AI to train them. And in that sense, it's like there's actually a benefit to doing this, whereas requesting guards in conventional Zerg AI doesn't usually result in anything. No matter how high you set the priorities, no matter how you tweak things, you have much better luck telling them to make the units manually. Like with a train command or something, like we found out when messing around with the AI most recently. Okay, so with all this said, These two can go there. These two can go here after.
Is a glass of water, colorless, tasteless. It contains 100 gamma of LSD-25, 1/10 of a milligram, the equivalent of 1/600th of a grain. An ounce of this material will make 150,000 such doses. Let us observe the effect some 3 hours later.
I couldn't possibly tell you. It's here. Can't you feel it? This whole room, everything is in color, and I can feel the air. I can see it. I can see it all around you.
I'm glad we're listening to some documentary about LSD. Good bit.
And the dimensions and all the prisms and the rays and everything coming down through you and moving. I wish I could talk in Technicolor.
Hello, Necropons. Welcome.
Can't you see it?
Happy holidays, dude. Hope your year went well. Hope your recent stuff is going good.
I don't know how I can tell you.
Hope you're in a joyous mood.
I'm trying.
Oh, it's just like you're released or you're free or...
Yes, what should I say?
Can't you see it?
Yeah, so I've actually completely replaced the Terran and Zerg races, or I'm in the process of doing so. It's a comedic project which involves police against anime. The police are... It sounds real off the wall, I know, but the cops are actually supposed to be a spoof on the local cops here in my town. And the police, or the anime rather, are supposed to be these like extra-dimensional entities that came over some years ago. And it's a series of missions as a birthday present for my younger brother. And just a real off-the-wall, bizarre comedy project, basically. His birthday is in January, late January. So we are just trying to get together and get a set of missions completed by then. This is the first mission. And right now I'm writing the custom AI. So we're looking at a custom faction. This is the anime base. Cops are down here. You can see the police shields. I implemented some dogs. I implemented a whole bunch of silly units. So a lot of inside jokes, a lot of stuff that might fly over people's heads if they're playing it and they don't know what the hell it's meant to be or they're not familiar with it at all. But should still be fairly fun. It's, you know, you get to play around with a new faction. You're playing a new race, and you're playing against a new race, and you're learning all this stuff. And there's all these custom assets, and you get to experience that sort of thing. So I hope people will have a good time with it anyway. Presumably I'll be releasing it around my brother's birthday anyway. So that's what I'm doing. The public version will be built around the idea that you're still playing macro. You're still going to be mining resources. You mine these things, donuts. You mine donuts. That's your mineral replacement. And you mine coffee out of these coffee mines. I'm eventually going to get a new asset for the geyser. As you can see, I already recolored the gas to be brown like coffee. So you're going to be mining coffee and donuts, and that's going to be your resources. I might implement like high yield minerals that'll be pizza instead of donuts, so you get to have pizza and donuts. Because the anime really love pizza. Cops are obviously more fond of donuts. So works out. That's my elevator pitch, anyway. All right, that one's done. Let's do the guards for this base and then go back to the main. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 spammers. So there's just 2 of those again. Have you played custom missions for Starcraft before, Necropons? Or any mods or campaigns or anything like that? Oh, okay. I see.
Sometimes each person like Christ, you have to spend your 40 days in the wilderness. Now everything is fast. We can't even spend 4 hours there. To look and see what it is that's burning for you. What it is that's
Well, StarCraft 1 is completely free, and that includes the older version of the game that's required to play some of this stuff. So if you see anything that catches your eye, I stream every day in the morning around this time period, and I'm always working on something. Sometimes it's this, sometimes it's my more serious projects. So
and then at a certain point when you've seen it,
maybe you'll see something you like. If not now, then on one of the other streams.
we know who's knocking at the door.
You haven't even played a custom campaign, Scarlet, huh? I guess you just watch playthroughs of them or something like that? Say 36. Oh, custom stuff is free. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, the whole thing is free. The game is free. So you can get remastered, but all of my work is not compatible with remastered. You have to play on an older version of the game called, that version is 1.16.1, 1.16.1. And that version is required in order to make some of the more elaborate gameplay changes. Like, there's all sorts of weird, wacky unit ideas that I've had, not only for this mod, but for my more well-known project, Project Hydra. Actually, if you do ! Hydra, as in Hydralisk, you'll find a link for all that information in the chat. But basically, all the stuff that I want to do, or most of the stuff that I want to do when it comes to the custom content and the new units and the new races and all this other stuff, it requires an older version of the game in order to run properly. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do most of what I want to do. I wouldn't be able to tell the AI where to build structures. I wouldn't be able to do a lot of what I want to do on a foundational level before you even get to the new races and stuff. But Hydra's a pretty large-scale project, much larger scale than this. So if the idea of like intelligent and difficult AI opponents is to your taste, you might like that one. That's a project where like the main crux of it is to design an AI that, or a set of AIs obviously, that are persistent throughout it. You basically you're going up against the same opponents, just fielding higher tech armies as the campaigns progress. And it's a redo of the original campaign. So right. Like, if you've played StarCraft 2 co-op, you know that, like, all of the StarCraft 2 co-op AI enemies, they just get their armies spawned in. You can wipe out their bases and they'll still attack you with a bunch of spawned in armies. I try to do the opposite of that, where if you defeat an enemy by destroying their production structures or cutting off their resources or whatever, it's sort of like if you played melee in StarCraft 2 or any other RTS where by doing so you've stopped the enemy from being able to reinforce. So you've defeated them in that sense. Instead of them just getting a bunch of free shit, you know what I mean? So I try to keep it more real in that sense. What was the other fanboy? That'll be down here. Bum, bum. Oops. Nice. Yeah, I haven't seen too many I haven't seen too many maps in general that work that way, unfortunately. That's the reason why I want to do that, is because that's the kind of stuff I want to be able to play. And it's fairly rare, unfortunately. Okay, so that's done there. Nice and organized. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Checking priorities here. So that's 90. Yeah, the biggest issue I think with a lot of the custom content, like all my YouTube channel has a bunch of playthroughs of custom campaigns for Brood War and some of Warcraft 3. You go way back, you can find some Starcraft 2 stuff, but not too much of that. But I try to, like, there's a lot of my audience actually wants to make their own content or is in the process of making their own custom campaigns or maps. And I try to design a lot of my feedback over or my commentary rather, of those things to be like, here's what I think could be improved, here's what I think could be done well. And what I found is generally, I actually found like a nice niche of people who are really passionate about making stuff as good as it can be. You know what I mean? And you don't really see a lot of the old content that's out there, and even a lot of the new content or the newer content is just made by people who think it's a fun hobby, and that's also fine. But when I'm trying to design my commentary in such a way where I'm trying to explain what they could do better, a lot of the times you get stuff that's just, they slapped it together and they were like, all right, here you go, it's done. You know, kind of bare minimum effort in a sense. It's pretty rare to find people who really want to put 100 hours into something or 1,000 hours into something, or however long it takes until it's done, you know what I mean? So, but that's mostly what my YouTube channel is geared towards, is like, I do my own modding and I do my own mapping. That's what I do on stream a lot, but I also stream my playthroughs of other content. And People sometimes send me their maps to give impressions on publicly or privately, and I do that as well. So yeah, it's I think it works out. Does the job. Certainly is a small group of people, right? Not too many people who are interested in it, but the problem with working with something like StarCraft 2 or even the remaster of StarCraft 1 is that the patches keep changing stuff and breaking functionality with old projects. So you'll find like maps on the arcade, for example, that were working fine 2 years ago but don't work anymore, and the author has long since moved on and is not interested in updating it, or doesn't even know how to update it, which is even worse sometimes is when that happens. So I stay away from stuff like that. That's why I'm on an older version of StarCraft 1, because I know that this version is not going to get any changes done to it. You know, the worst that would happen is like operating systems would stop supporting it, in which case I would just run it in a virtual machine or something. But even then, it's like, you know, right now I don't even have to worry about that, which is nice. So. Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of people miss that. They have these huge aspirations and they want to make some huge project, and then they're like they get maybe 1 or 2 missions done out of like 30 that they planned, and they're like, wait, I don't even like doing this, or they don't know whether or not their concepts will work until it's too late, and they've already started the project. Very few people try to make like tech demos, or like you'd call it a tech demo, but it's more like a skill demo. It's like, how good am I at this, and what are my, like, you haven't made anything before. If you haven't made anything before, you don't really know what you need to improve upon and all that other stuff. So it becomes quite a problem. I should get going here soon, unfortunately. What do we have here anyway? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, sometimes the big projects are the most exciting, but equally, it's good that you already understand, you know, maybe it's a good idea for me to keep it on the small scale status for now. Anyway, I gotta get going for work here in a moment, so I am gonna go ahead and kill the stream. But I appreciate everybody who came in and hung out, talked some shit while I was writing some AI.
Is that a fucking crow?
Thank you for the follow. The editor I'm using is SEM Draft. It's actually a fan-made editor. It's a third-party tool made by somebody like he's not made by Blizzard, or it's not made by Blizzard. He's not made by Blizzard either. Scary thought. But yeah, that's the bulk of like where you get the map making done, the editor done, and then I use Notepad++ to write AI code. So. If you're interested in making something in StarCraft 1 instead, there's tons of guides out there on that. I don't know any good resources for StarCraft 2, though. I guess StarCraft 2 Master is probably the only place, but that place hasn't kicked out much recently, as far as I understand. So you might have tough luck finding that stuff. But in whatever you do, I wish you luck. And if you're going to be around tomorrow, I will see you and everybody else tomorrow. Thank you very much for hanging. Kisses.